Okay, so this morning, or was it yesterday? This is what I'm talking about just to start with. I can't remember which it was, but I made kind of a rambling, incoherent video about what's going on with me and why I haven't been doing mitochondrial myopathy videos. So as I stated in that video, my son, who's 15, was diagnosed in January with Philadelphia positive pre-B cell lymphoblastic leukemia. Y'all are like, that's just a bunch of words. What is that? So let's start with the leukemia. It's a blood-based disease where, in his case, the white blood cells are creating tons of white blood cells, but none of them actually fight infection. They're just rogue blood cells that are like, hey, let's be friends, but do nothing to help him. So that's the lymphoblastic leukemia portion of it. Now, this happens a lot in children. It's called ALL, and it's got a great cure rate. But when I say children, I mean they're usually like babies to 4, little. They're usually little. While in his case, he's 15 going on 16 this year, so that he's considered high risk. Also, he's male, so that puts him in a bit of a risk category as well. And he's biracial, that puts him in a bit of a risk category as well. But the biggest hurdle that we came to was when the DNA came back on his actual cancer cells, he was positive for the Philadelphia positive chromosome. So what that means is not only are these white blood cells making too many reverse that. Not only are these white blood cells creating cells that don't work, the Philadelphia positive saying, let's make lots of these and have a huge party where nobody else can come in. Like, red blood cells, you're out. Like, you can't even come in here. Whoop, whoop. This is an all unworking white blood cell party. Due to that, unfortunately, he's having to have a lot of blood transfusions. On Tuesday, we will be going for he has a Metaport, for a port-given chemotherapy drug. And that drug is really strong, so afterwards they have to flush it for hours with saline. And at the same time, he will be getting his 6th blood transfusion and his first platelet transfusion. So we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be a long time, a long day there. And it's hard because as a mother, I'm juggling. I have another child as well who's 12, going to be 13 this year. And I want to make sure that he knows that just because the situation's changed, I love him just the same or more than always, because life is really short. In August, we're told he has a compression fracture of the spine. For the rest of the time, we're told he's fine. His labs are fine. You're fine, fine, fine. And thank the Lord, Dr. Redding, who's the orthopedic guy that found his first compression fracture, said, let's just run a repeat MRI, and found the lesion-looking things all over his back and said, we think it's cancer. But if he hadn't done that, we could have been in a sticky situation because Brenton did not present in a normal fashion. His blood work looked great for the most part. So when we would go into a hospital and they'd say, no, he looks fine, but it was highly frustrating because I know my child and he does not fake sick. Like he just doesn't. My youngest son fakes sick like every day. I've got a tummy ache, a headache, I can't go to school, this, that. Brenton never, ever fakes sick. So when he said he's sick, I know he's sick. So this has been really rough. So how it goes. First stage is called induction 1. After induction 1, you are supposed to be in remission. And then from there, you go into induction 2. And then from induction 2, you go into consolidation phase. And then after consolidation, you go into maintenance. So he did induction 1, and unfortunately, he was not in remission. But the doctors said they felt comfortable going into induction 2. So he's finishing induction 2. In fact, I gave him his shots tonight. He has one more set of shots tomorrow, and then Tuesday, that long day of stuff. And then he'll be done with induction too. Once his ANC and his white counts, these are just blood counts. I know it doesn't mean anything to you guys unless you have this and you're listening and you know what I'm talking about. But until his ANC count gets above 1,000, they cannot do another bone marrow aspiration because there won't be enough white blood cells to even tell if the medication is working or if there are bad blood cells there, because there just won't be any. There just won't be enough. So after this next round and the platelets and the blood, the next thing we have to do is wait until he has an ANC above 1,000, which has been pretty good. So I have a feeling it's not going to be like a really long wait. I'm thinking like the 28th, 29th type area. Then after that, he goes into, assuming he's in remission, which we are, he will go into consolidation, which to me is such a scary stage just because I don't really know how it's going to go. I know that there will be 3 weeks where he will be in the hospital for 6 days straight. I don't know how much time between the weeks he gets to come home. That's all up to his body and his blood work. But during those 3 weeks that he's there for 6 days, he gets this big yellow bag that they drip into him over 24 hours of chemo. And then after that, they have to do a rescue drug to counteract that medication. And to me, that's frightening. It's like you come in with heroin and we give you Narcan to counteract that so that you don't die. So to me, when someone says, okay, we're going to give you XYZ medication, and then we're going to give you this medication to counteract it. Like, oh, you have a bee sting? Let me get you epinephrine. You know what I mean? So that's kind of scary. And then he'll go back on steroids for just a short time. Thank you. 5 days. And then each time they'll be doing different medications. And I'm sure, we have a imatinib at home. So that's for the Philadelphia positive. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be taking imatinib. But we have imatinib at home that he will still continue to take every single day. And I don't really know the next plan. So that's where I'm at right now. If anyone wants to share their stories, please do. Tell me, like, what did you go through? Did you go into remission right away? Did you do induction too? Are you Philadelphia positive? I would love to hear that because I don't know that much about it. My son still has not shaved his head. I say he looks like Donald Trump in the wind. But he's just not ready yet. When he gets ready, he'll do it. It's his body. I've allowed him to make almost every choice about this on his own, from whether he wanted to bank for having babies later to, does he want to be involved in testing that could possibly help other people down the line, to his hair. It's all his decision. He's almost 16, and this is a big deal. We will be doing chemo, for 3 years total, even though he should be in remission after this round. And that's just to make sure that it doesn't come back. And they do lumbar punctures like every 2 weeks and put methotrexate in there because the leukemia cells like to hide out. And one of the most important places that they like to hide out is inside the spinal cord. And if that happens, then it can travel to the brain and it's a really big problem. So they do the methotrexate. Anyway, lots of information. Sorry I wasn't all with it this morning. Here's the better presentation, hopefully now. And I would love to get a group dialogue. This is really rough as a single mama going through this. If anyone has had to deal with any type of cancer, any type of chemo, any type of parenting a child or teenager that has to go through this, I would be greatly appreciative to hear your comments. Or if you're starting this journey and you want to know, like, what are you in for? Ask. I'm happy to answer that as well now that we're about going into our 3rd month of this as well. And it wasn't always pretty. We had bedside commodes, we had shower chairs, we've done the work. So don't be afraid to ask. Thank you so much. And I hope you like my channel. Subscribe, hit the like button, make comments, and I'll get back to you. Thanks.